Hi, today I'm going to show you how to develop colour film using typical colour T41 chemicals. Very straightforward process. Often said to be a lot harder than black and white black and white developing, but really I think that's the case, and hopefully I'll show you how easy it is to do today. We'll go through the list of the equipment in a second, but we're pretty much ready to go. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some of the equipment you'll need if you're going to develop colour negative film at home. What I've got here is a very large plastic container. This is what I actually do the developing in. I fill this up with warm water. This helps stabilise the process, the temperature of the process. C41 is quite a temperature critical process, and a large water bath helps to keep the temperature stable. Also in here I've got a dark bag, a changing bag. This is where I load the film onto the developing reels. These are really useful things to have unless you've got your own dark room. So well worth the investment, and I'll get the largest size you can because it gives you more space to work with, especially if you're going to use a large tank like I do. What else have we got here? We've got various jugs, so I mainly use these for the washing stage of the process. I don't have a mixer tap that can keep the water at a constant temperature, so I fill these up with water at the right temperature when I'm doing the washing. And I've got a funnel here that I use for when I'm pouring chemicals back into their bottles. Got various measuring cylinders and also a couple of small syringes for mixing the chemicals up from the concentrates that you get when you buy the chemicals. It's good to have a variety of sizes. So the largest one I've got here is 100 ml. Is 1 litre. The smallest is 50 millilitres, and then I've got a couple of small syringes as well. Talking of temperature, this is a spirit thermometer that I use. A lot of people will tell you that you should actually use a digital thermometer for colour negative work. They're probably right, but I've always managed to get away with using a spirit thermometer, so that works for me. Also on temperature, this is a water heater that I got from a specialist photographic supply store. It's called Nova or Novatronic water heater. Really useful. It just allows you to keep the water temperature stable. I've tried doing it without, and personally for me, I'd really rate this. It costs about £40, and it just means that you can you put your hot water in there. It's up to temperature, and this keeps the temperature stable enough that you don't have to worry about it during the critical stages of the development. When I've done it without, I've had to kind of keep adding little bits of hot water all the way through. Also, these are the developing reels that the film goes onto. This is a 35mm one, this is 120. They're both identical reels, but I don't know if you can see, you can actually extend the reel out to become 120. It also does 127 film, which I had a chance to do recently as well. I've got a couple of developing tanks. A small one, it's called a universal size, which will take one 120 film or two 35mm. And this is a large, this is a Patterson Super System 4, it's called a multi-reel 5 tank, which takes 5 35mm films or 3 120 films. Over here, some important safety stuff, goggles and gloves. When I'm doing colour stuff, I do always wear gloves, and I try to remember to wear goggles all the time. Sometimes I forget the black and white. And I've got some stuff for when the film is sorry, there's me dropping my chemicals. For when the film is drying. So I just hang up this coat hanger with these film clips attached, and then on the other end I use a kind of office bulldog clip or some kind of bodge contraption with a spoon. Also important for when you're loading your film. As you can see here, I've got 35mm and some 120. The nice thing about the C41 colour process is that you can mix up different ISOs, different types of film. So I've got some 800 speeds, some 200, 200, 400. So they can all go in together. It's a standard process. If you're dealing with 35mm film, you'll need some scissors and possibly a can opener to get the can open, the container open when you're in the dark bag. That's pretty much it for equipment. Oh, actually, I almost forgot. This is my phone, which has got a darkroom timer app on it. I really rate this. You can set development times Like I said, the C41 process is fairly standard, but if you're reusing the chemicals, you extend the time. This allows you to put in all your times of different stages, gives you a little alarm when you need to agitate the developer or the Blix. So it works really, really well, and I really, really recommend it. Okay, so chemical-wise, what are you going to need for developing colour film? Well, here's the film, obviously. As I said, you can develop any type of colour negative film. They also tend to cross-process slide film as well in the same chemicals. That's never had any problems. In terms of chemicals, what I've been using so far is a Tethanol Colourtex C41 rapid negative kit. This is a 5-litre kit that I've had, and this has done probably at least the 60 to 80 films that it recommends, probably a few more than that. You can always push them a bit further. The first part of that is the developer itself. This is a colour developer. This creates the colour image on your film. The next bit is this one here, this dark, kind of quite sinister looking chemical. This is the Blix, and Blix stands for bleach fix. In the true Kodak version of this process, you get two separate chemicals, a bleach and a fix, and you can get consumer products like the Fuji Seller chemical kit as well as the Volley Digibase kit. They both have separate bleach and fix stages. Tethanol one has a Blix stage which does both at the same time. The final stage is a stabilizer stage. This is similar to the final rinse like PhotoFlow that you use with black and white film developing, but it also has antifungal properties, and it also stabilizes the dye couplers in the film, so it stops the film fading over time, and it keeps the film looking fresh in years to come. Okay, I've got everything ready now to load the film onto the reels. Today I'm going to be developing 3 35mm films and 1 120 film. That fits quite nicely into my Pattern 5-reel tank, I'm not going to go into great detail about how to load the film onto the reel because there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube and other places about how to do that a lot better than I could do it. So just have a quick search for those and you'll see what to do. Okay, now after a particularly tricky fight with a 35mm film canister, all 4 films are in one of the reels in the tank. The final bit is attached, so this tank is completely light now, doesn't even need the lid on, which is useful. And we're ready to go. Okay, so I've got the developer and the Blix floating in the water bath there. I've been watching the temperature pretty closely, and we're just about ready to go with these. So we'll start the development in a second. The stabilizer I've warmed up and now I've taken out. This is sitting over here ready to go. I find it likes to be a little bit warmer than room temperature, but it doesn't need to be anywhere near as hot as developer or the Blix. Okay, so we're ready to go. The first step is 5 minutes pre-warm of the tank with the film in it, just with warm water at the same temperature that it's developing at, which is 38 degrees centigrade. So I'm just going to start the timer now and pour in the water. Put the lid on, I squeeze the air out of it, that makes a nice seal on it. And I'll do a few inversions just to get the water moving around. But basically I'm just trying to keep this as close to the development temperature as possible. This 5 minute pre-warm is in the technical instructions, but it's not in the official Kodak process. Some people say that you shouldn't do it, but I've had the best results personally for me using this 5 minute pre-warm, so I stick with it. I won't keep you here for the whole 5 minutes, but we'll check back towards the end. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of the 5 minute pre-warm. Might just do 4 inversions. Got about 45 seconds left. After doing inversions, this is the same with the developer as well. Just give it a tap on the side, that dislodges any air bubbles that might stuck to the film during the agitation. That's practice so you don't get any kind of air bubble spots on the film. I'll check the temperature of the developer. It's bang on temperature of 38 degrees. So I'll get the lid off of that in preparation. Try not to make it fall over, which is always a risk. We'll come towards the end of that, and let's pour out the film. You can see, I don't know whether you can see, there's a nice green colour to that. Those are the dyes in the anti-halation layer, it's called. And I think, yeah, it's probably not a bad thing to get rid of those before you go. So, next is the development stage. This is slightly longer than the standard times because I've been using these chemicals for a while, so they're a bit exhausted. We're going for about 4 minutes for this one. Okay, drop it in. Lid on quickly as possible. Get that on there. And I'll just give it a series of inversions. Bang on the side. And that sits in there. We agitate every 30 seconds with this one. And whilst we're waiting for that, we can just get our funnel ready in the bottle so that we can replace the chemicals when we're done. And we're ready to agitate again. We can come back to this in a second, I'm sure. Okay, so we've got a little under a minute left to go. We're just going to do one final agitation, I think. Should I do one more after this? Then well, no, we don't need to do that because we're going to be pouring it out at the time. So we've got 30 seconds left. We'll get the mix ready. Leave that there. This can come off of this. After the developer, I do a quick rinse of water to actually kind of stop bath. 10 seconds left. Let's pour out the developer. And pour in some water. This just acts as a kind of stop bath to dilute any developer left in there so much that the action of it stops working. So wash around, and then we can pour that out. Next, we're going to pour in the bleach fix. So, because this is quite exhausted, this is a 10 minute blitz. Blitz is pretty nasty stuff. You don't want to get it on your clothes. It will stain horribly. Stinky, nasty stuff this is. Get that lid on. Oh, whoops, that didn't start properly. Actually, that doesn't matter at all with Blix because what Blix is doing is it's taking away any of the silver that's left in the film. So you've got two types of silver in there. You've got the silver which is developed and help form the image, and then you've got any undeveloped silver which is left over as well. In the full process, you've got a bleach and a fix, and they do those two types of silver separately. Put that back in there, keep warm. This is a developer lid. Make sure you don't get your bottles muddled up, because one drop of flicks in the developer will kill it dead. And I'll squeeze it out to try and get as much oxygen out of it, trying to preserve the chemicals. Let's check the electricity. Yep, that's still fine. This is the nice thing about having the water heater that I mentioned earlier. The temperature of the water is pretty much stable throughout this whole process. If I were doing this without one of these, I'd be having to add hot water all the time. Anyway, after this agitation, you can come back in about 8 minutes' time. Okay, so we're getting towards the end here. Got another minute and a half to go. Just about to do another inversion, so just hold on for that. We've been going almost 10 minutes. The next stage is going to be the washing stage. If you're lucky, you'll have a mixer tap which you can keep the temperature at a regular temperature, so that you can just wash under a tap. Unfortunately, I don't have one of those. I've got two taps, and one of them is pretty flaky. So instead, I've got these jugs of water lined up, and what I will do is I will use what's called the Ilford wash method. The Ilford wash method, you pour some water into the tank, fill it up, you do 5 inversions, then you pour it out. Same again, but with 10 inversions, pour it out, same again, but with 20 inversions. I do a slightly bastardised version of that, so I start off with an initial quick rinse, just to get some of the stuff out, and then I do 10, 20 and 30 inversions. I don't know why I like to just extend the number of inversions and do that first initial rinse, but for me, I just like to be a little bit over cautious. Okay, so the blitz time is coming to an end, and we'll pour this out. Okay, so blitz is back in its bottle. The next step is the wash. So water goes in here. I'll just give it a quick rinse around, so that's just one quick initial rinse. Try and wash up as we go. You can see that's quite brown water from the blitz still. So the next one is my first proper part of the Ilford wash. But instead of doing 5 inversions, I'm going to do 10 inversions. You can come back later when we've done the whole load of these. So we'll do 10, 20 and then 30. Okay, so I've got 10 inversions left to go. Once we're done with this, we're on to the stabilizer stage, which is the last stage. Stabilizer is it's a final rinse, which helps the film dry cleanly, but it also has antifungal properties and it keeps dyes stable in the film. So it's a very important stage. It should be the last thing that touches your film. You shouldn't do any rinsing after that. Lost count now, so I think we're pretty much there. Let's do it one more. Good luck. Now remember that first rinse we did, the water was extremely brown from the slick, but now that's coming out very clear. So now we get to look at our film. Pray that the valve hasn't died. But I can see some images on there, so that's promising. Now with the stabilizer, you're meant to do it for about a minute. I never put the stabilizer in the tank because it foams loads and it's really difficult to get out. It will show up in the next time you pour a developer in there, you'll get foam going everywhere. So it's a really good idea. I just have one jug which I marked up, which I use stabilizer, and that's the only one that ever goes in, so I know which one to use it with. So it's going to go in for a minute. I'll have to do a couple of, probably do these 335mm films at a time. So let's just do a couple at a time. This stabilizer, despite looking fairly innocuous, is really quite nasty stuff. This is actually the most unpleasant chemical that you use as far as I'm aware. So definitely use it with gloves. A couple of times I got some on my skin without gloves on, and definitely was a kind of irritant. I got some redness and itching. You absolutely want to use gloves with this stuff. So I'm just moving it about in there gently. Kind of coat the film in it. Now once this is done, you can just hang your film out to dry. What I do, I use my fingers as a bit of a squeegee just to kind of run off the excess water. That's quite controversial. Lots of people say you should never do it. Other people swear by it. It seems to have worked for me. But you know what? I've got a hole in this glove and it's full of stabilizer. So that's not pretty good. I'm just going to wash my hands quickly. Check your gloves for holes before plunging them in stabilizer. The twisting motion that you do when you're agitating can sometimes rip slugs, so I should have checked that first, but it was okay. Just going to pop these in the sink. Also stick on another glove. See if we can get this on. So I just wet my fingers with the stabilizer, open up the 35mm is a bit longer than the normal 120 which I usually develop. So you can see how this goes. Okay, that just gets off some of the water. I'm just going to go and hang this up. Okay, we're done. And apart from maybe a slight exposure to some toxic chemicals, that went pretty well. You can see that the negatives are out and looking well exposed. generally. This is from a super sampler that had film in it for about 5 years, so that's not bad. And they've all got something on, so I'm pleased with that. I hope this film has been useful and has shown you that actually doing C41 colour negative film at home is really quite simple. Definitely give it a go. It's not as hard as everybody says. Well worth the time and effort, and it will save you a fortune in processing. So definitely worth doing.